Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, some interesting developments here that we saw on Twitter earlier, about 30 minutes ago. Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson started to trade Twitter jabs for whatever reason. And, Gervonta Davis started to, I guess, talk a little bit about the history between the two and basically said that, I'm just summing it up, Jay. You might go into a little bit more detail, but basically Shakur Stevenson was a fan of Gervonta Davis. And then he started talking a little bit reckless or whatever, saying something to the effect of he wanted to fight him or something like that. I'm summarizing it, Jay. I know you got an opportunity to go through all the tweets, but the one that really struck my or really got my attention was when he said, Jay, that I have a 6/7 fight deal, and don't worry, little buddy. Let me pull it up. Let me make sure I read it verbatim. I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. I have a 6/7 fight deal. You in there, little bro? So he's basically telling Shakur Stevenson that he is certainly in the plans. I've been saying this for a very long time, Jason. I don't know why people do not believe me when I say this, that Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson are in the plans for Gervonta Davis. He said this on multiple occasions that he plans to fight both of these gentlemen. It's going to happen. So I thought it was interesting that he's brought that up. He did delete it. We know that Tank will delete a tweet very quickly, so maybe he didn't want the deals of or the details of his deal out there. But certainly, there's plans for Gervonta Davis to get at Shakur Stevenson, and he revealed those plans. Shakur was saying something to the effect of, Tank is saying everything, but he'll be willing to make a fight, and that's what Tank's response was. Don't worry, little bro. I got a 6/7 fight deal. You are in the plan. Jay, what are your thoughts on what Gervonta Davis had to say, and also the exchange? I know you had the opportunity to read all of it.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's tweeting because that lets me know he's in camp. He's training. This is Tank every time he's on camp. He's on edge. But Shakur's poking the bear. I was laughing because he's like, yeah, you waited outside and paced the hall till I got done to get this picture. Talking about the picture he had with Tank. So it's like you can tell Shakur's been a fan, but Shakur's been doing the same wash, rinse, repeat with certain fighters. He did it with Devin as well. He did it with other fighters, with I believe a little bit with Frank, but definitely with Devin. As far as like you're saying everything but fight me and all this stuff here, But Tank putting it out there saying probably 6 or 7 fights. I like it. I like it, man. And to your point, we've talked about who his next fight should be and who we want to see him fight. Frank is up next. Shakur might be up next later this year or next year. And then Devin, if he goes up to 140. Because Devin's not coming down to 135 to fight him. But Tank going off on Shakur back and forth. They're talking about resume, who has a better resume. And Tank like, who you fought. And Shakur didn't say anything as far as like who he fought. He just said, well, I've been 2-time lineal champion at 130 or something like that, but he didn't say who he actually fought. Mm-hmm. So I was waiting to see the jabs on that, but it's funny those two are going at it back and forth. But we know Tank is pretty much lined up to fight Frank sometime in June possibly. But Shakur just needs to really get the stain off his name from his last fight. He's picking all these Twitter battle people and stuff like that. Get in the ring, Shakur. Fight someone worthwhile. Like this next fight you have that's supposed to be possibly fighting is Frank's leftovers. We'll see how you look on that. But if you really want this smoke with Tank, which I don't think Shakur is scared at all. Shakur said numerous times before that he thinks a fight with him and Tank will be one of the biggest fights in boxing. For that to actually happen, Shakur, you gotta raise yourself up. After that last fight, you fell down a lot. You're going to take whatever crumbs that Tank wants to give you. You get that if you want that fight with them. But them two going back and forth. It made for a good Wednesday evening of laughter, of them going back and forth, throwing barbs at one another and everything. Tank said he's going to knock him out with the same left hook he caught him in sparring before. So it's pretty entertaining to me.
Yeah, no, I think it's entertaining and definitely I like to see the fighters. Specifically, Shakur Stevenson, and I know people have said in the past that Shakur's been vocal about his desire to fight Gervonta Davis. This is the most vocal I've ever seen him be in terms of his desire to fight Gervonta Davis. This is how you need to be in order to make these fights happen. And too often I feel that people are talking about Tank and who his competition is, and I think Tank's competition is actually good. I do put it slightly behind Devin, but outside of Devin, I would say his competition has been good, and so, but we don't hear the same thing about Shakur Stevenson. Like if the opponent is fighting Gervonta Davis for whatever reason, it's not a good opponent. But that same opponent can be fighting Shakur Stevenson, and it's perfectly fine. And I use this as an example on one of our live streams that we do every Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I said, if you were to take William Zepeda, the individual that Shakur Stevenson was lobbying to fight, and you put him in the ring, or you announced a fight between he and Gervonta Davis, you know what you would end up getting? You would get a lot of pushback, Jay, from the Gervonta Davis detractors saying that that's a terrible fight. Why is he taking that fight? So forth and so on. His resume, da 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 da. Right? Shakur Stevenson announces that same opponent, and everybody will say that's a great fight for Shakur. So there's a double standard that exists there between those two. And for me, it's like if you're talking about Gervonta Davis and he needs to be calling out Shakur Stevenson, then at the same breath you should be saying Shakur Stevenson needs to call out Gervonta Davis as well, because he's the one that needs to fight more than Gervonta Davis. Yet I do not hear that a lot of times from the fight fans. But I am excited that Shakur is being vocal about his desire to make the fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. To your point, I mean, you don't even have to say Williams Zepeda. You can just say Frank Martin. When Frank Martin was on schedule to fight, supposedly Shakur, it's a great fight. You didn't hear no 30-year prospect. Now all of a sudden he's fighting Tank. Oh, Shakur even said he's a 30-year prospect. This is the same 30-year prospect you were supposed to fight last in December.
You're a 30-year-old prospect.
He wasn't a prospect then. Was he a 30-year prospect then, or did it just happen now?
Yeah.
So to that double standard you're talking about, man, it's just ridiculous. And it's ridiculous the fact that Shakur would even say that, because Frank is a top 5 135 pounder.
And would be the best opponent he's ever faced.
Exactly. But since he's facing Tank instead of facing Shakur, he's just a 30-year-old prospect.
Exactly.
It's just a trash way of going about it. It's just annoying to me when they do stuff like that. Just take it what it is. I'm like, this dude is a good fighter in Frank Martin. Top 5 135 pounder. You can't really name too many fighters that's better than him at 135. In all honesty, right now, it's hard. Even you say William Zepeda is up there. We know William Zepeda, and Oscar went away from Shakur, but Frank is there. Don't say he's a 30-year prospect when he's better. He's a top 5 fighter at 135. Just stop with the double standards when it comes to Tank like they do.
Agreed. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to this back and forth between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis. Very interesting. Gervonta Davis did reveal some details associated with his deal, and Shakur Stevenson is in the plan, so that's very interesting. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.